You built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
In 1985, the minds of Bob Gale, Robert Zemeckis, and Steven Spielberg came together to bring us one of the greatest time travel movies of all time. Let's fire up that flux capacitor as we go back in time to show you 10 things you might not have known about Back to the Future. First, let's talk about the plot. In Back to the Future, our protagonist, Marty McFly, accidentally gets transported to 1955 using a DeLorean time machine that his friend Dr. Emmett Brown invented. While in the past, Marty ends up interacting with the high school version of his dad and interrupts the order of events that were supposed to lead to his parents' meeting. The initial idea for the movie came from Bob Gale. After visiting his parents' home and looking through his dad's old yearbook, got him wondering, if he had gone to school with his dad, would he be friends with him? We're glad Bob Gale decided to take this idea further, or else we wouldn't have gotten the classic that is Back to the Future today. Although we now know the film to be a classic, at first there wasn't much interest to make it. Gale and Zemeckis took the film to various studios and producers and ended up getting rejected 44 times. One of those rejections came from Disney, who said it was too extreme and basically incest due to Marty's mom falling head over heels with her son. Although Gale and Zemeckis did get a thumbs up from Steven Spielberg, Back to the Future didn't get greenlit by studios until after the success of Romancing the Stone, upping the credibility of Zemeckis as a successful director. Now that the film is scripted and greenlit, who will be Marty? The first choice was always Michael J. Fox. However, at this time, Fox was under contract to film the sitcom Family Ties, and the sitcom's producer, Gary David Goldberg, would not let him out to shoot the movie. So, Zemeckis and Gale went with Eric Stoltz, who had recently been very successful in the movie Mask alongside Cher. It took about 5 weeks of shooting before Gale and Zemeckis had enough and realized that Stoltz just wasn't giving them the comedic angle that they were looking for, and Stoltz was let go. Next, they literally had to beg Goldberg to please let Michael J. Fox be part of the movie and that they promised it would not interfere with the shooting of the sitcom. They came up with a deal to where Fox would shoot weekdays at Family Ties and nights and weekends for Back to the Future.
Whoa, this is heavy.
But hey, it was worth it. Before we got the iconic DeLorean time machine, earlier drafts of the film had Marty going back in time using a refrigerator and an atomic blast to get enough energy to be sent back in time. The producers later axed the idea, stating that they didn't want kids to end up climbing into refrigerators and getting stuck because they saw it in a movie. So they changed the time machine to a car. But wait, the iconic time machine was almost a Ford Mustang? Yes, that's right. Ford was willing to give production a good chunk of change to get the car into the movie, but clearly the Mustang would not have worked out, or else we wouldn't have had this iconic scene. Speaking of the DeLorean time machine, there were 3 cars used in the production of the movie. The A, B, and C cars. The A car was known as the hero car, which was the most detailed for up-close scenes. The B car was the stunt car, and the car they used for the final scene where the DeLorean gets hit by a train. And the C car was the process work car, which was cut open to allow the camera to get better shots of the interior. For the production of the sequels, 3 more cars and a fiberglass replica to use for the flying car scenes were created. Although a lot of the movie cars were either lost or sold off, the A car was officially restored in 2013 with the help of a lot of the original crew and many superfans. The restoration was documented in a film called At a Time, Saving the DeLorean Time Machine, and in 2016, the car found a permanent home at the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. A couple of cameos you may have missed in the movie are from some popular musicians. In the scene when Marty is auditioning for the Battle of the Bands, the teacher that tells Marty, "You're just too darn loud," is actually Huey Lewis from Huey Lewis and the News, the band who created the songs for the movie, The Power of Love and Back in Time. Huey Lewis wasn't the only musician with a cameo, but Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers also makes an appearance as Douglas J. Needles, Marty's instigator, who by calling him him Chicken gets him in a lot of trouble in 2015. Here's a quick one for you. Remember the scene where Marty McFly was mistakenly called Calvin Klein by Lorraine due to the Calvin Klein logo written on his underwear? When the movie premiered in 1985, in some European translations, Marty is called Levi Strauss instead of Calvin Klein, and in France it was changed to Pierre Cardin because the Calvin Klein brand was not well known outside of North America at that time. You may or may not have noticed a couple of character recasts after the first film. Marty's girlfriend Jennifer was originally played by Claudia Wells, alongside with Eric Stoltz. However, Wells had to drop the movie due to an earlier commitment for a sitcom called Off the Rack that got picked up on TV. Fate intervened when after the 5 weeks of shooting with Eric Stoltz, he got replaced, and Off the Rack got cancelled, letting Wells return to star alongside Michael J. Fox in the movie. Unfortunately, she would once again have to drop out of the movies, Part 2 and Part 3, due to her mother's cancer diagnosis, leaving Elizabeth Shue to step in to fill the role of Jennifer. Another character you may not have noticed that was recast was George McFly, originally played by Crispin Glover, but recast with Jeffrey Weissman in parts 2 and 3. This was due to a couple of factors, one being that Glover disagreed with Zemeckis on the ending of the original movie, arguing it makes it seem like the money equals happiness rather than love being the answer. But speaking of money, Glover ultimately didn't return to the sequels because apparently he wasn't offered as much as he felt he should have for his role, leading him to being recast. But the trouble didn't end there, because he later filed a lawsuit that the movie used his likeness without permission when he was recast. The huge success of the movie didn't just end with 2 sequels. Universal Studios decided to make the movie into a ride using giant Omnimax screens and motion simulators to create the illusion of moving through time in an 8-passenger DeLorean that Doc built in order to be able to go after Biff, who had just stolen the original time machine. The ride opened in Orlando, Florida in 1991, followed by Universal Studios in 1993. The rides remained open until they finally closed in 2007. However, folks at Universal Studios Japan got to enjoy the ride from 2001 to 2016. While many agree that Back to the Future may be the perfect movie with the perfect amount of sequels, others still ask, what about a reboot or a 4th movie? Gale and Zemeckis have both confirmed that there will not be a Back to the Future 4 or remake as long as they are alive. Clearly, they do not want to even chance seeing the possibility of someone ruining their masterpiece. However, if you cannot get enough of Back to the Future, there are still many other sources of media that continue the story, one being a terrible cartoon that was released in the 90s, another being the video game that was released in 2010, and as of the creation of this video, the most recent being a musical that premiered in 2020. We hope you enjoyed these 10 things you may not have known about Back to the Future. Be sure to leave us a big thumbs up and comment below if you'd like more videos like this one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get more doses of retro nostalgia here on Retro Needy.